Hello and welcome to the Brass Junkies. I'm your host Andrew Hitz, and I am joined by my co-host Lance LaDuke. Lance, how are you?
I'm so happy to see you today.
You really seem it.
Thank you.
What a conversation that we just had with Billy Hunter. He is he's good for my soul, that boy is. He's just like it makes me laugh. Lance, you said it, like when we hung up, or when we stopped hitting record, you said to him, you're like, those are my favorite kind, where it was like 50% us just messing around and just laughing and like lots of and then there was 50% like deep content, which is those are my favorite ones as well. So yeah, he's wonderful.
Tons of stuff on meditation and preparing for performances and auditions and the state of the orchestral industry and just such cool stuff. And then we got him in some serious trouble with his wife. And
then let's be clear, he got himself in serious
he
trouble
did it.
with
That's
his
true.
wife.
We didn't do anything.
we just documented.
We might have pulled some things out of context, maybe.
But that's on him. He knew what he was signing up for. It's not like he doesn't know us.
True.
So that's that I firmly lay that at his feet. And he also spoke to us about the Recollective Orchestra that just performed at the Hollywood Bowl. Really, we started with that because that was, as I said in the interview, every photo of every person that I saw from that was just like beaming. So yeah, it was great to hear him chatting about that. You know what else is great to chat about? Parker Mouthpieces.
Can't think of anything.
The hosting for the Brass Junkies. Parker Mouthpieces offers fine, customizable component mouthpieces for horn, trombone, euphonium, and tuba, including the Andrew Hitz Artist Model Tuba mouthpiece and the Lance LaDuke Model Euphonium mouthpiece. You can find out more at parkermouthpieces.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And by the way, some well wishes to Michael Parker, which I can say this because he posted it publicly, but he actually he took a real good spill on his skateboard the other day and ended up in the hospital. So he's okay, but man. So yeah,
How old is he?
He's a year younger than me. He's 45.
There you go.
So yep. So still prime skateboarding years. So the bonus episode with Billy, there was lots of laughter. He told an amazing story about a performance of the Messiah that he gave in Brooklyn many years ago. I will not spoil it, but if you go to patreon.com/thebrassjunkies, then you can become a patron and unlock bonus episodes with a whole long list of people. And we actually just about a week ago had Jim Nova was on for a Patreon patron only hang, which was a lot of fun. He's the guy in the spot that you read every week. So, but anyway, check it out. Join the many people who are already doing that. Thank you so much. There's a lot of expenses that go into producing this every other week for the last 7 years. So you all are very, very, very appreciated. And I think that's it. Lance, is your heart content? Can we get to the conversation that we had with Billy?
Wish we would.
All right. And without further ado, let us in fact get to the conversation that we had with the principal trumpet of the Metropolitan Opera, Billy Hunter.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content by the Brass Junkies, just click on the like and subscribe button. You'll have an opportunity to see some of the greatest brass players in the world, and Andrew and me.
And today on the Brass Junkies, we are joined by the principal trumpet of the Metropolitan Opera. How about that? He's important, Lance. Do you realize that we're joined by brass royalty today? His name is Billy Hunter. Billy, how are you?
I am doing A-okay. I'm a little under the weather here, not so much under the weather, but my throat's. So I got my tea here, so I'm really taking in my Metropolitan Opera, training from the singers with my tea. All I need is a scarf,
We were supposed to interview Billy 2 days ago. and he texted saying that he had laryngitis and that that his voice sounded like Miles Davis, and that his kids were making fun of him. And yeah, as a friend, I should have had empathy and been like, oh, but I just laughed and laughed, and I laughed a little bit more. So yeah,
We should have had Rex Richardson on to interview you.
Hey man, you dig? You want to? What's it like to play with the Metropolitan Orchestra? It must be cool, right? Those cats, all right? I hope you feel better, bro.
Except for it's like it was I said Miles Davis, but it was kind of floating between like Louis Armstrong and like Chipmunks. So I'm not sure that would sound.
That was my favorite collaboration between Louis Armstrong and the Chipmunks.
I almost just spit coffee onto my computer. That is not a combination that I've ever heard before. I don't know if you've ever heard the Miles Davis autobiography audiobook is really good because the guy really sounds like Miles, but like I don't know how. And obviously he's a professional voice person, but like I mean the book is like it's like 20 hours long. I don't know how he recorded more than like 12 minutes in a day. I mean because like just the voice is all raspy and stuff. It's like I wonder if it took him months. Yeah.
Right. One of my after show spots that I used to take people with if I had guests. Oh, let's have a beverage here. One of the spots I used to take him, there was a guy I met there who was actually Miles Davis's neighbor on 84th or 86th Street, wherever he lived there.
Wow. This
guy who's Jack, and he's like, yeah, man. He was like, and the guy started talking because I went in a tuxedo. And he was like, oh, he goes, did you have a performance? I said, yeah, I played at the opera. He goes, oh, I was there. I'm like, oh, thanks for coming to the opera. He goes, what do you play? I play trumpet. He was like, oh, I used to live next door to Miles Davis. And I'm like, then our friendship started. And so I used to talk to this guy all the time, and he would tell me these crazy stories with Miles Davis. Apparently he had a driver, and he was into boxing, so he would have his driver drive him like to Madison Square Garden so we could see the boxing match or whatever, because he was really into random facts.
Wow. We had trumpet players with their random stories. Like Jack Burt just casually dropped that he used to be neighbors with Jaco Pastorius. Like he's like I've known Jack for years, wow. And he was just like, oh yeah, I used to hear Jaco practicing. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you're just mentioning this now, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, so there you go. That would come up. Like, that'd be like the second thing I'd tell people. Like, I'd tell them my name, and then I'd be like, and I used to listen to Jaco Pastorius practice. It'd be like, I mean, in all circumstances, like, yeah. Anyway. So you just
I said paper or plastic.
Yeah. We were about to get to real content, and now we're going to postpone it just a little bit more because at the grocery store yesterday, all the stores now are trying to get you to round up to the nearest dollar for charity.
Oh.
Right.
The verbiage is getting really aggressive. Yesterday I'm leaving the grocery store, and the question for the roundup was do you support school nutrition? And so to say no, I like to not round up to 86 more cents. Like I was like, no, I do not support school nutrition. I don't. I was just kind of like,
I thought it over.
Right? Yeah. What's there's the meme of Michael Jordan, and it just says "F them kids." It's like that famous meme. So that's what I felt like. I felt like the Jordan meme. Where I was like, well, I guess not. I don't know. So yeah. Anyway,
I always find myself comparing to you and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, right.
I was just watching a comedian, like this guy Earthquake, and he was talking about that same subject. And kids, it's like the kids. And one of his jokes, he gave this long, about how the kids' future, blah 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 blah. And then his punchline was like, and I'm telling you, as a professional. F them kids. And I have 4 kids, by the way. So yeah, so just
but only two of them made your mug there. I see there's a hierarchy.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, my water mug is my older son.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So now there's one kid who's not on there.
Yes, there's only one. There's only one. And so, because I can't have three.
The other kid's on the side of his flask.
All right. All right. There are some people who tuned in for like Trumpet insights who are getting pretty pissed at us right now. But hey, yeah. Okay, here we go.
We'd like to apologize to you both.
Yeah.
We will get moving on with the content.
If you're here for us to ask him what kind of mouthpiece he plays, you must be lost. Yeah. All right. So, but here's an actual serious question. You just had a very special experience this past weekend, and would love to hear all about it because the photos that you posted, you and all the people that I knew at that event were. I texted you this. We're literally just beaming. Like, I mean, it was like pure joy, and so I want to hear all about this.
This was like probably the best like show one of the best show experience I've ever had as a musician. And so what it was called the Recollective Orchestra. It's kind of the brainchild of this fellow Juilliard alum, Stephanie Matthews, violinist. And she's like, well, let's just start kind of the idea of like Black Wall Street. Why don't we just like start our own orchestra and start doing recordings and stuff for, Black filmmakers, producers, blah, blah, that and such. And so there was a project earlier, I think it was Lion King, that she had contracted. And I think it was the same idea. And the producers and directors want to kind of like do that to be, more inclusive of Black people in like that industry. Anyway, long story short, so she formed the Recollective Orchestra, first all Black orchestra from musicians from around the country with different jobs and ranks in their jobs. Like, so for example, myself, from the Metropolitan Opera, the tubist, Jatik, he's coming from Oregon.
He's awesome.
And the bass player, Joe Conyer, he was like coming from Philadelphia Orchestra. Sure. And so, and Anthony McGill, clarinet from New York Phil, yada, yada, yada. So, and then in my section, I had like a Broadway person and an LA session guy. And so it was great, for the community, but like mostly to see like, people who look like me and like perform on the stage of like the Hollywood Bowl, which is like, this has never happened before. Like, it was like a historical event, like the first all Black orchestra. And to put on top of that, we were backing up like amazing artists like Shaka Khan and like, the Roots and like Belle Biv DeVoe. Oh my goodness. But when Belle Biv DeVoe came on, like, I mean, where else in the world are you gonna, they're gonna start playing Poison, dude, or the bass line comes up and the whole orchestra jumps up and starts like just jamming out. And the conductor's like, no, you can jam out. It's cool.
That's awesome.
And so it was like the atmosphere was like a joyous atmosphere. It was a like celebratory atmosphere. And what was amazing to me, it was sold out. What was amazing to me was afterwards I met a lady, and she's like, well, were you just playing the concert? I'm like, yes. And she's like, oh my goodness, this is like, I just could not believe it. I got so excited. I'm not a musician, but I had a front row seat, front box, and when I heard that it was an all Black orchestra, I couldn't believe it. And so I was just overwhelmed with joy, and like and so many other people were impressed by the event. And it's like, hopefully it was and it's not supposed to be like a somber it's supposed to be a celebratory, I'm from Texas, original, and so I'm very familiar with the whole Juneteenth like a celebration and what it was about and all of that stuff. But yeah, it was, and on top of that, it was really nice seeing other colleagues in the business that were, at this point we were all friends. You haven't seen each other in 4 or 5 years. It was like, oh, hey, what's up? How many kids do you have now? Great. That kind of event. And then seeing some of the younger musicians saying like, oh, this is, such a joyous time for us to like make music together. And then meeting all these like superstar musicians, Earth, Wind and Fire. Come on. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more exciting to perform.
So would you say you had fun?
What's next for the organ?
Oh yeah. Oh,
so it didn't suck.
It did not suck.
So what's next for that organization then?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's only been like a couple days out. These things, I think there's
sure. Yeah.
Water settle in and then figure out what because there's a lot of other stuff they have to do with LA Phil, Hollywood Bowl, all that stuff, and whoever was involved in this concert. So what would be great is if they did that same concert but like switch cities, like maybe next Memphis, next year do it in Philly, next year do it in New York, Miami, yada yada yada, that type. Yeah. So it's not just in one place.
Yeah, I saw Martin McCain. I saw Monica Ellis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Weston Sprott. Like, yeah, it's like it was just like it was like lots of and just every single person I saw who I knew was like A+ humans too, which was just like which was great. Like where it's usually like, oh yeah, there's that person. Like, oh nice. It was it looked amazing.
It was just like going to your like Thanksgiving. You go home for Thanksgiving. It's like he's like, oh look at Uncle Ray over there. Blah blah blah. Everyone having a good time. Like talking.
So you all show up to the first rehearsal. What's that vibe like?
Are we gonna get music yet?
It's like every other rehearsal.
You don't need music. You're Billy Hunter. Yeah, just make it up.
It was like I said, the first rehearsal we went in, everyone was just kind of like, elbowing or COVID hugs, all that stuff. It was like a joyous occasion. We we know that when we go our separate ways, it's only going to be 1-2 of us per orchestra, if that, and it's not going to be the same vibe.
Slightly different vibe.
There's not, you don't find that there's like an unbridled joyous commonality in most rehearsals that you're in.
Moving on.
If you are listening, he just strategically lost his voice again. Yeah, that's all
right. So actually, I want to ask you. I'm going to take a left turn, just kind of a right turn back to a left turn, and ask how you deal with illness like this and still play and perform and do all those things. But before we do that, I want to let you know that the Duquesne University is the home of the Mary Pappert School of Music in beautiful and sunny Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You just called it.
We would like to encourage you
the
to
Duquesne University, like the
Ohio State. Oh no, that's right. Now that's trademarked, right? I can't do that anymore.
Yes. I'm sorry. I digress.
Duquesne University.
and
in beautiful in beautiful and sunny Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you would click on the link in the show notes, you will do us a favor by showing them how much you appreciate their sponsorship of this show. Fantastic things going on at the Pappert School. I did not get an English degree from there, so don't blame them for that. And really cool things happening. Long-term sponsor, long-time sponsor. I don't know what's happening. This moment brought to you by Jim Tourette's Nova for making it possible. Thank you, Jim.
I think
I really appreciate it.
I think I know what's happening. I think that Lance is intimidated by Billy Hunter. So it's
Such an
It's
intimidating.
got to be it.
yeah, that's gotta,
It's got to be it. Eek!
Billy is just so he's not very welcoming. He's not very approachable. He takes himself
I can't
super
shake
seriously.
the Louis Armstrong and the Chipmunks thing. It's still stuck with me.
I see skies are blue.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! It was like that the other couple days ago. You know what's even worse? I mean, laryngitis you can still play unless your throat's like completely closed off or something like that. But if it's like like a fever blister, you ever have those things? Like, those are the worst. What are the ones called where you brush your teeth and you actually bite your gum? I mean,
Oh yeah, end up like with a canker sore or something.
Canker sore, thank you. Yes, yeah, those are oof. I've had to actually play an audition with a canker sore, and it was not fun. Or like work with a fever blister,
Right.
So I just my biggest with both of those things, I think stress brings both of those, the canker sore and the fever blister on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and knock on wood, I haven't had any of these in like years. And I used to get them all the time, but I think it's something to attest to the meditation that I do, just to try to keep my stress level down, right? And even when that doesn't mean stressful things aren't going to happen, but I just try to keep everything like on the DL, down low. Then I like the collective trying to keep the stress level down really helps with like even forming like fever blisters. It's like prehab, if you will, right? Like a pre.
What's your meditation practice entail?
So like my everyday meditation practice, I wake up, I cross my legs, I close my eyes, and I immediately start breathing and just focus in on the breath, and then I try to focus in on like thinking about like nothing, with the awareness of all the stuff that's coming around. I find the morning is like the freshest, and I'm usually pretty into it in the morning. I wish I had my picture here. My wife was just showing me this picture book. I was meditating on the bed, and my boys, we used to go Sundays bowling for family day, and they used to collect little poop emoji like hats. And they had they have like 20 of them, right? And so I'm sitting there meditating, and so they put the
like
poop emojis everywhere. It started taking, and grabbed my wife's phone and started taking photos. But I was so deep into the meditation.
The one who spearheaded that is the one that didn't make any of the mugs.
That's right. Yeah. His face is superimposed on a poop emoji.
Actually, so yeah. Sorry, I'm a for someone who has laryngitis, I'm like talk too much, right?
Dude,
anyway,
you're being interviewed. That's kind of like that was kind of like what we were looking for. I'm sorry, I keep answering all the questions. Like, what the hell do you think you're doing here, man? Like, we broke him.
Okay, so you meditate, and then do you do anything? So, especially when you're under the weather, do you do like what? I mean, you've got to do a gig, so then you've got to do the gig. So how do you
the only
happen?
way? So for me, like the biggest thing is if it's an injury to your chops, like where you can't move them, you can't play, then you can't play, right? But if it's I've had strep throat, and I'm not, and this is like you have to do it if you're sick. If you're sick, my philosophy by far is like stay home, right? but in a situation where you can't cancel, you have to do the show. You know, in the past, I've had to play a show with like strep throat, which was closing. Like I had swelling, so for that I actually had to take something to take the swelling down. So I took Advil to take the swelling down, and other medicine, antibiotics to, you know, but I took it a couple of hours before the show, because for me, if I take Advil, about 45 minutes to an hour after I take it, just my lips feel weird because I can't feel them, you know, like dead, you know, and I feel like a little bit more blood life in like about 2 hours in or whatever. Typically, if I have to take Advil, I'll take it after a show. After I've had like a heavy day, I'll take like an Advil. Bring this. It's like, you know, equivalent to icing your chops, right? But as far as if I had a fever blister on the chops, I'll try to, you know, keep it clean. You know, once again, I'll have to take Advil, something to take the swelling down, which is the big thing with like when you need something to take the swelling down. But I don't. The tricky part about this is, like, you know, I don't make a habit out of it. Like I said, I haven't done stuff in years, you know. And with the canker sore, you know, the canker sore, you kind of suck it up, you know. You can like deal. There's a way you can deal with the pain with that, you know. And with any type of pain, I think as long as you focus in on breathing, this is what they do with, like, if you know, you all have kids, right? Yeah. You know, like the Lamaze class is like the breathing to control pain, right? You know, and so you're just like, it's like, all right, well, if you have pain, you know, just go ahead and breathe, and you can like live with it, you know, with 5 minutes, you know. And like, and for me, it's always with the understanding, like, I'm going to take care of it. It's not going to be there forever. Now, if it's a consistent pain or injury like that, that's where you fall into problems, where you put your mouthpiece up and you can't get a sound out for a week. You know, that type of, you say, well, I think something's not working right. You know, better call somebody, right?
So we're going to get in touch with your wife and let her know that you think that it's about the same to give birth 4 times as it is to, you know, have a canker sore when you're playing the trumpet. You're welcome.
Which,
in advance.
No, I want to be clear. He also said to play for 5 minutes. You know, yeah, he's like,
for 5 minutes,
he's opera dude. It's like, you know, he's like world class for 5 minutes, and then he gets to chill for 20.
Actually, my wife just walked in. You know, yeah, no, I wasn't definitely not comparing a canker sore to childbirth.
Roll back the tape. Roll back the tape. Something tells me you're not going to make the side of her mug.
What I was going to clarify.
Keep digging, like, Billy. Keep digging.
So, you know, like, childbirth is pretty painful from what I get.
Pretty painful. Pretty painful.
I can't talk. I can't talk.
Childbirth, pretty painful.
Canker
sore. Billy Hunter.
Not as bad.
There's a T-shirt. There's a T-shirt right there. Childbirth, pretty painful.
Oh, we broke him again.
Oh.
Yeah, but it can't be as painful as canker sore. Is what I was trying to say.
Do you think anyone's ever?
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Come on.
Do you think anyone's ever been heroic enough to give birth with a canker sore at the same time? Can you imagine those two things combined? Like, that's all. Oh, he took his glasses off
while playing Petrushka.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right.
So let's talk about meditation a little bit more. Have you? I'm trying to get this back on the rails, and both Lance is turning a different color. Billy is crying right now. He is. For those of you only listening, his glasses are off. He's wiping tears out of his eyes. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
You know, You know,
Oh,
I'm
man.
trying to take this seriously here, and I really feel like you two aren't. Uh, so let's talk about mindfulness. But in all seriousness, I don't know if you've ever, do you know Jen Montone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, you should. But she's the principal horn of the Philadelphia Orchestra. She's just phenomenal player, teacher, human. We've interviewed her before. She's just amazing. But she talks a lot about meditation as well, and about like getting centered. And both of you have incredibly high pressure, in like the top 0.01% of like brass jobs in the world in terms of like the pressure for what you have to play, the audience you have to play for. Principal horn of the Philadelphia Orchestra, principal trumpet of the Metropolitan Opera, those are both on the shortest list possible. Like how has your approach to like staying present like in the moment? Obviously when you took over the job it went well, like you're here, you've been there a long time, right? But has your approach changed, or has it gotten easier, or was it always something you were good at? Can you talk to us about that journey?
Yeah. Right. So, as far as like performing, you just said something, and it's something that I've kind of like heard a lot of like professionals say. Michael Tilson Thomas used to talk about it a bunch, and it's like he used to, the way he described it, he called it the now. He goes, "This is the now," the moment here, and what you just said. You said something, performing in the present moment, like so the now. The present moment, staying present, right? And like this is to me like the key, so how many times, for example, you're sitting there, you're getting ready to play, and you got this person over here is like, he's like, yo, Andy, hey, don't miss that note, right? And so you have a splie or something. All right, so they're like,
Sounds a lot like Andrew's playing, actually.
And now, why in the world would I miss that? I can't believe. And then all of a sudden, it's like, we forget about the rest of the concert, right? Right. And so we're thinking about the past, and then like another scenario, where you're like sitting there, just like, before the concert, planned and lick 8-10 times, right? It's like, I hope I don't miss it. I hope I don't miss it. I hope it's like, well, no, and that's also not staying present, right? Being present in the moment is like absorbing everything, and taking it in, you've already trusting you've done your work, your groundwork, metronome, tuning, all that stuff, and now you're at the point where you can just like play music and just trust yourself and play the music. And so for me, staying on top of the game is staying in that one moment, and it's really difficult to get in that present moment, and so sorry, Nita, not the hit of that water. And so for me, the meditation helps stand in the present moment more than I would if I didn't meditate. If I didn't meditate, it'd be like, they call it the monkey brain jumping around. It's like totally like, and like, in a high pressure situation, it's like, like, you have to be still, right? And it's out of the stillness. One of the other things I do is I practice from yoga. This is hot yoga. And one of the things I notice is like I've in the class whenever I'm having a difficult time, it's like balance on one foot. I'm like, yeah. I notice whenever I'm falling over, my eyes are like whoop, 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 kind of going all over the place, right? And when I sit still and just stare at myself in one spot, and keep my eyes steady, and then do the exercise, usually don't fall over, right? And it's like the eyes are kind of like the gateways into the brain, soul, and stuff like that. So, you're moving them around. That means you're not focused here, right? So, but if you have your eyes focused, boom, you know, it's one thing. Which is, you can also close your eyes. It's the same effect. You close your eyes, try to focus on one thing, and then nothing. but this the meditation helps me get to the moment of when in the present. So if or when I do miss a note, it doesn't bother me and destroys the rest of the concert, whatever, right? And I, especially doing a recital, just try to have fun. It's all the hard concerts I've had. It's like I'm not having fun. It's like that concert wasn't fun. It's like, yeah, because I made a decision to make it not fun. So, I always try to, approach, for me, to try to keep it loose, and there's a lot of music, we have to play that we don't like, and it's, that's okay. That's part of the job, but like, the meditation, for me, the sit down meditation, and it's a collective thing over time. So every day I've been doing this stuff. I do it every day. I feel weird if I don't do it, like if I don't do it, I walk outside and say, man, why is everything like this? It's like, I need a V8. Remember those commercials? I need a V8.
I need 800 milligrams of sodium to feel normal.
So if for, I guess anybody, but I was thinking specifically for younger students, I think part of the challenge for aspiring players is that it's difficult to simulate game time in terms of intensity and the pressure. And so you develop these strategies, but kind of in a vacuum. So how do you, with your own students or with younger or aspirational players, how do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, so it's really difficult to imitate live performance, right? Because your heart rate goes up, the sweaty palms, like the mouthpiece slips, something's always going to happen, right? And so for me, I kind of go in, it's like, well, something's always going to happen, right? But it's like that prehab thing, right? If I prepared ahead of time, like by doing my meditation, part of the meditation thing and being aware, the definition of awareness is like you have your focal point, right? But around that focal point, right, around that focal point, that's where all the stuff is, like all the other, stimuli. And like, it's not like the stimuli is going to go away, but you are aware that it's there. It's like, I'm aware that you're there, but you're not going to get in the way of this right now, right? And so for like younger students, this is like difficult to try to attain. And so there's different things you can do. I don't know if you all are familiar with like Don Green. He's like the sports psychologist turned musician. Like anyway, he used to do this. You run up and down a flight of stairs and come back and pick up your trumpet. It's like, all right, let's play like something soft and delicate, right? Or just like have your friends. It's like, okay, I'm gonna play this for you. Or just like have your another set of friends. Like, all right, I want you to play this for me right now in the middle of the night. And this is for orchestral audition excerpts training. Play Petrushka. 2:00 in the morning. It's extreme. You'll never do that. But what he's trying to do, he's trying to, like, when you run up the stairs and do these things, when you're taking out of your normal activity, things your heart rate increases. You have you release these like stress hormones, right? And so that's like kind of a closer way to deal with at least what the stress part will feel like, And I've had people come up to me, it's like, who get nervous, like literally, be on stage, not nervous until that boom, the metal hits the skin, right?
Right.
And what do you do then? It's like, well, as much as you can in the practice, just use your imagination. For some reason, us adults, the older we get, the less imagination we use, right? So I'll just use as much as I can. It's like, right, I'm in a giant, I'm in the Hollywood Bowl, packed, right? It's like, all right, it's like, and then I say to myself, which is part of my meditation practice, intending to perform well 3 times, and then say to myself, performing well, right? And so the concert might not be note perfect, but like your audience enjoy the entire performance is the end goal, right? We all want to have a perfect performance, but like the end goal is like, did you make any music? Did you like speak or say something to your audience?
It's really powerful.
Yeah, it sure
Good
is.
stuff.
Do you need to get a refill? I can do another ad if you need to go get some more water. Are you all right?
Can I get? Yeah, I need a refill.
Yeah,
we literally
because I
have an
meant to
ad.
tell Andrew that Houghton Horns aims to spread the joy of music through providing the highest level of products, services, and resources to the brass playing community. They have free domestic shipping on all new items, excluding sheet music, and free domestic returns on new instruments and mouthpieces when you order online at HoughtonHorns.com. There's a 15-day money-back guarantee with free shipping on all instruments and accessories with multiple easy financing options on all inventory. Terms and conditions apply. Houghton Horn stocks the finest makes of brass instruments, including Bach and Kahn, Selmer, Eastman and Shires, Engelbert, Schmidt, Paxman, Tyne, and Yamaha, among many others. They have mouthpieces by Greg Black, Lasky, Pickett, Schilke, and more. They have a unique Varus brand of products specifically designed by the craftsmen and pro musicians of Houghton Horns. Repairs and customizations are done in-house. You can browse vintage and consignment instruments at HoughtonHorns.com. They have free equipment consultations, in person or virtual, available with their team of professional musicians. Schedule yours at HoughtonHorns.com. Browse the extensive news and resources page on HoughtonHorns.com for great pedagogical info, articles, interviews, videos, and events. Billy, I'm giving them the whole enchilada so that you have more time to recuperate. Watch over 200 unique videos on Houghton Horns' YouTube channel, youtube.com/Houghton Horns. And if you enter the promo code Junkies at online checkout, you will receive 10% off your purchase from HoughtonHorns.com. Some limitations apply. Thus endeth the advertisement.
Can you believe he just like walked away? We've never had a guest just leave before. It's like he's being very casual about this whole thing. So I just
I thought this was Arsenio Hall type energy.
yeah, because people
not
that
like Barbara Walters.
we used to get that on the road all the time when people thought Lance was Arsenio Hall, because they're just they're spitting images for each other. You brought back a memory for me when I was in grad school with J. Samuel Palafian at Arizona State. Audition prepping for summer festivals. I remember that he at one point had me. There's I think it's dead now, but there was a giant cactus outside of the music building, and he was like, you've got like 2 minutes, like 2 minutes to sprint, go touch the cactus. He's like, I will be watching. Don't turn around early. He's like, touch the damn cactus, come back, and then play Petrushka or whatever it was, And so I was like, and I did it, and I got back with 15 seconds to spare, and then played, and it was, it was good. It's like it focuses you, and you're right that it's hard. It's hard, but not impossible entirely to recreate live performance, right? There are things that you can do. There's nothing actually fully replaces the experience, but there are some things that we can do to
You can
make life
replicate
harder.
the physical responses
Yes.
that a lot of people have.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's something about like a live performance that's better than listening to a recording. I had a student, like came to was like, oh, did you hear this trumpet player? It's like great trumpets. It's like, yeah, it's like, what'd you think of the concert? It's like, he goes, well, I was shocked, because the trumpet player missed notes. I'm just so used to listening to this recording. The recording's always perfect. I'm like, ooh, It's like, don't get used to, well, I mean, this is the essence of live performance. But I mean, the point is like, oh, you missed one, note. It's like you ruined the entire concert. No, as a listener, you should be, listening for like certain things, and like as a performer, we should be trying to, exude certain things to the audience, right? But just listening if something's like perfect or not is not the way to listen. It's like when I was like, I want to be moved, right?
Yeah. When the planets are all aligned, like I can play all of the notes on the tuba like perfectly, right? There are plenty of times I don't, but like there are lots of people that can do that. And I don't want to minimize how much work like all three of us and many thousands and thousands of other people in the world have done to be able to do that. But like that's not that interesting though. It's like, and it's I'm going to guess that Recollective Orchestra at the Hollywood Bowl, that like one of the reasons why it was so, there's lots of reasons. One reason why it was so exciting, I'm guessing, is because like you were like having like a musical conversation with Belle Biv DeVoe. You weren't just trying to like cut off every single note exactly when you're supposed to, it's like it was like a thing. You were communicating with them, with each other, with all that. That's the interesting stuff. It's the conversations that happen.
Yeah, it's like the interaction. So as on the whole yoga vibe, you have energy. Your body has all this energy, this like chakras and all that stuff, energy fields, and so when you're giving out energy, like you can feel that energy from the audience. It's like a real thing. And so that's what you don't get. It's like of that level of like energy. Just watch it on like a through a screen. You can get something, a lot of it, but not like that intimate experience, and where you hear like it's like, wow, the sound. I was listening to some Lou Rawls the other day, and like one of his trumpet players said, oh yeah, it's like, yeah, I remember playing with him. It's like you should have heard his voice live. It was just so much deeper than what the recording even. And it's like, and that's what we're like in live. It's like, no, it sounds different, and that's for me that what I love, like that hearing how a full string section sounds when they're together, like into, it's just, I mean, there's like certain, when you record, there's certain, I don't know what it is, I'm not a sound person, I'm not a scientist, obviously, but but for me, it's like the difference between organic and like some man-made fake stuff.
Yeah,
it's interesting. We're especially now post-COVID, we're I think reevaluating what are things that are okay to do at home. So like some movies I don't feel compelled to go see in a theater. Other movies I think, oh, this I probably want to see in a theater.
Right.
And what is okay to listen to or watch online, and what needs to be out in audience with other humans.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And I think people are starting to, I mean, that's why we're having like labor issues all across every industry. I have a friend and he was like, he and his partner live in they live in Austin, and like we were having dinner, and he's like, yeah, he's like, we have these chickens, man. Do you have any egg cartons? Do you need some eggs? I'm like, excuse me? It's like, did you just you have chickens? He goes,
are you speaking in code?
And they named their chickens. One's named like Shakira, one's Mariah, one's Ariana. So they're named after like pop divas.
That's awesome.
But he's just like, yeah, no, we produce like 30 eggs a week. It's like, at least. It's like, wow, man. And so people are starting to do that stuff, like grow your own herbs, grow your own chickens. It's like, omelets and vegetables. That's all you need, right? And water.
Pretty much.
And Lance to vamp for you while you need to go get more.
That's right. I think it's. I mean, it gives you hope that one of the things that people are wanting to go do in public again is to experience music live.
Yeah.
Especially our end of the musical spectrum.
Yeah.
So that's that wasn't it's still not a guarantee.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I
think
it's
hope.
not a guarantee, I think, but people are excited. Sure.
I
This
think so.
this concert in LA was sold out, and other concerts that I've done, around, it's just like they want to hear. It's like they miss the community of like going to a concert, sitting next to someone, enjoying the live music as it happens. Yes, I think.
How do you think? I don't know if this is. I hope this isn't if this is a controversial question for you to answer, we will skip over it. But how do you think orchestral contracts should evolve to reflect what's happening in the world? Maybe they are, and in what ways are they, and in what ways could they or should they?
Well, I mean, that's like a hard question because, like, each orchestra has like their own like specific contract. I mean, I think it might be a good idea to consider just as long as I've been in the music business, I think and I had this conversation with a couple of friends this past weekend who were actually musicians who switched over to administration, and like I kind of feel musicians actually understand the business. They understand the ins and outs of like what it takes to put on a show, the ins and outs of the pay and stuff. And so why not have these musicians in these positions, right? And so I would kind of like to see more musicians just kind of taking over like their own orchestras, right? Kind of like how they do it in I think Vienna does that. Like they kind of control, they have like rules set in place, but you're kind of eliminating the middleman. I guess like
who was it? Was it Milwaukee? Was it in Milwaukee that the principal trumpet player?
Yeah, Martin Niehaus. Yeah, and he was like, look, and he was if you know him, he's very like, like trumpet playing is very everyday, boom, boom, and he's like, and he understands, like, look, it's like it doesn't make any sense. You're putting this. I go into concert and I can see in the audience like there's no one coming to these concerts. Why are you still programming, right? And then like, but the thing you say, the people in Milwaukee actually listened, right? And so he
to their credit,
every musician's kind of like success story. He went out there, had an idea, got them a new hall, and now they're doing like they're on the up and up, Milwaukee's, and so I would like to see more communication that way, that because you'd be shocked if you see some of these orchestral like contracts, it's like, half of these things were, negotiated, with the Sands Las Vegas, over a steak dinner, you could go in this room, total mafioso style, and like especially like, like some of the, older organizations, I'd be very surprised at how things go down, but like, when it comes to the nitty gritty, the more control you have over your own stuff, the better it is. This is what Prince was trying to do with all those other artists. He was like trying to get him to say, look, you got to own your own stuff. That's why he had that symbol. He made that music with the symbol and said, y'all can have that. And he had some whole collection of just own stuff that, that he's going to make his profit off of. So.
Right.
Why can't we start doing that? And I think musicians typically are smarter and like younger than what's running the show, like these orchestras. That's my opinion. I mean, it's no one else's, but this is what.
No, I mean that's what. Yeah, and so you we don't have to go too far down this road, but you look at the complete debacle in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah. Well, I
know.
mean, Exhibit A, you know.
Yeah.
You have
Well,
like,
it'd be interesting what rises from the ashes there.
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that organization has always been like, even, you know, when I was going to school in Texas, I mean, it was always like, oh, San Antonio, they're going to fold. Well, they're not going to fold.
Yeah.
Hold it.
Right.
They're fold. They're not going to fold.
For like a couple decades now. Yeah.
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 Like for 20, it's like, wait, you know, if it doesn't work for, you know, 10 years, if it doesn't work for 20 years, you know, I mean, something's wrong. And what's wrong with this picture? You know, do you musicians make these decisions? You know, I mean, no.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You know, it's,
and
the
I
origami orchestra with so many folds. But I'm
sorry. We have a delay. Go ahead.
Oh,
no, it's okay. It was worth it. There's a I said there should be an origami orchestra. So many folds. Thank you very much. That's a very polite laugh. I appreciate that. So I've had the great pleasure of reading I'm Possible, Richard White's book.
Oh, yeah.
And in that, he talks about what happened in New Mexico and the process and what the players on the inside were doing while all of this nonsense was happening outside and how they saved the orchestra or brought it back or recreated it, I should say. So there's there's some breadcrumbs in there for folks to follow if you want to check out a firsthand account of something like that.
Right. And a shout out to Richard, man.
Yeah.
We had like so many stories. My goodness. Good times. He's a good buddy of mine.
That's awesome.
That book, man,
Yeah.
that was really, really amazing. I was
I
very grateful that he put that on paper.
I stayed at his folks' house in Baltimore, and and there was good times. But
Yeah, he's
different
awesome.
tangent.
No, all good. Well, you know, it's we're getting short on time, but it's interesting that the people who tend to rise to leadership positions in orchestras don't tend to come from like outside of the orchestra business completely and then just get plopped in. So they kind of come up through this system. It's a lot of what's wrong with academia as well, because the people that tend to rise to the the highest leadership positions in academia are thriving within the system that is academia, and so that's like what they know and what they're good at and why they were hired. So that tends to keep perpetuating the system, and it's the same thing with the orchestral thing, where I think it's I can only imagine how hard it would be if like I got hired to do a thing and then I did it so well that I kept on advancing, and then I got to the top, and then I'm suddenly supposed to like completely think outside of the box from what I was asked to do and what I excelled at and what got me here and what got me my check. Is like so it's like kind of a little bit of a catch-22 there, but I also don't know if like the answer is to bring in some executive from like like the Yamaha motorcycle division either, I mean, so it's kind of like some complete outsider. Not that that's a false dichotomy, but it's it's interesting because I refuse to believe that a city like San Antonio, that there is not a way for an orchestra in that city to be enough of a part of the fabric of that community that the community couldn't imagine living without it if it was run the right way.
Well, I mean, you need proper like fundraisers, but you need proper people on the boards, like who have like an eye for this, who know how to like build things up, and like at least with like I think San Antonio is like one of the top 10 largest cities in the U.S.
Yeah, it's like 8th, I think, or something like that. Yeah,
right.
And like, and they don't have a major orchestra. It's like,
and there's, I've been there enough times that there's something about San Antonio that isn't like any place I've ever been on the planet. And if an arts organization could capture that, they'd have the cat by the keister. I mean, it's like there's something unique and special about that city that somebody could capitalize on. Probably, but will it be a large arts organization like that, or will it be a a smaller, more nimble something or another. I don't know. Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, I met this investment banker over the weekend. He's like, oh my, so he was talking about me. One of his spouse was a violin soloist, right? And I'm like, so what do you do? He goes, I'm an investment banker. It's my job to recognize value and to sell it. How to make a profit. I'm like, oh, damn. Like, can you say that again? Like, recognize value, and figure out how to sell it. I mean, you make a profit, and that's exactly what San Antonio needs to do. Yeah, I look at a place like
Totally.
Symphony, for example. Like, they have this like concert series pre-pandemic. I forget what it's called, like nightclub for I forget the name. That's not what it's called. But well, the hall would actually open, like the concert would start at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and so you get all these like club goers, right? Which is essentially this a lot of like South Beach.
Sure.
Going into the concert hall, and they're mixing in like they have a DJ. They're mixing in like electronic and doing live performances of classical, modern, whatever, the whole gambit, classical music, mixing it in. Boom, boom, boom. People come. These things sold out. To me, that's like, all right. Well, we're getting like the neighborhood, something that they like, and we want to introduce them.
Yeah.
Let's have this partnership together,
And that doesn't mean that you can't do Beethoven 9 starting at 7:30 either. Like, it's not an either or.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like really upset with the San Antonio thing, because the other thing was saying that there's like tons of money, as far as like fun and like tons of money in that, and so I was like, if I was like the musicians, I would, let's reform, let's do our own thing. The administration's dissolved from us. We're now like Orpheus or something, let's just do that, and then set it, get it'll be tough at first, but the long run, it's all about like the long game, right?
Well, a lot of us are pulling for them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hopefully, people listening to this in sometime well into the future, that this will it'll already have been resolved long ago. So, but time will tell. So, guess what? What you're feeling right now, Billy, is excited, because we are at the practicing corner, presented by Hitz Academy Practice Coaching. Billy, would you like to get more done in less time in the practice room? Like compound interest in a bank account, making yourself even just 10% more efficient in the practice room will make you a better practicer forever, and those results will continue to compound for literally the rest of your career. I launched this whole thing just for Billy. It's exciting to finally have him on here. Let practice coaching from Hitz Academy help you implement systems, which you could really use, that will improve every aspect of your practicing routine, do better at auditions, and unlock your true potential as a musician. How does Billy Hunter do better at auditions? I guess, yeah, we'll figure that out. I'll have to brainstorm that. Learn more at practicecoach.link/coaching. All right. So, do you have a practice tip for us, Billy Hunter?
Yes, my biggest practice tip is, especially for brass players, stay consistent with playing basics every day. Consistent basics every day. Consistent basics every day, right? So and I made it vague like that so you could throw in tugging, lip slurs, long tones, but you do it every day. When the problems do arise, you won't be surprised, and your body's going to be already efficient, because it's going to be in shape. The muscles are going to be all ready to go, and and your brain's going to be in the right place.
When the problems arise, you won't be surprised.
I just wrote that down real quick. Yeah, it's like, man, there you go. That's that's the thing, is that the people who, even the very, very, very select few who sound like Billy does day in, day out, there are some days when your lips feel great, other days when they probably feel only okay, other days when they don't feel good at all. But like
Yeah.
what you just said is that when you put in the basics like over a prolonged period of time, and every single day, when a professional marathoner isn't having a great day, it's not like they I'm not talking if they're injured, but if they're just not feeling well, they don't
Right.
like stop running at mile 5. They just, it's just like 6 minutes longer than what they were planning for
Right.
at the end, and it's so
Right.
the same thing where you just put in the daily work such that when it's not all aligned, you still sound like Billy Hunter.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good. Good. And Billy offers he will do extra basics for you, but it's prohibitively if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it. So that's all I'll say. There's an investment banker idea. Yeah, like have Billy Hunter do your trumpet basics for you. It's like, yeah. Remember, Lance? You remember the story from John Rojak when the dude called this? We will end with this story when there was some dude who called Rojak, who said that he had stopped playing for a number of years, but he decided that he wanted to become a professional bass trombonist, and there was some audition like a month later, and the guy had to go from like not playing for a couple of years to winning an orchestral audition a month later. And he said to me, he said to Rojak, he said, "Hey, somebody told me that you know the shortcut." And he said,
I remember
so
that.
I want, is it possible, can you, I'm happy to like pay you for your time, but can you tell me the shortcut? And John was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he was like, "I'm just told that you know the shortcut." And then I think Rojak said, in like the deadpan that only Rojak can pull off, he's like, "The shortcut is practice every single day for 2 straight years, and then call me back." And then he hung up on the dude. Oh goodness, I love John Rojak. That's it's been too long since I saw that knucklehead. So
yeah.
Billy, this was awesome. Thank you for fighting through your laryngitis issues. I'm glad we got this rescheduled so quickly. Good luck. Good luck facing your wife after this, who heard you compare childbirth to having a canker sore and playing the trumpet. It's like we're about to have him hang on for the bonus episode. For the bonus episode, we should have his wife come in and have them have the talk right in front of us, just for the Patreon patrons. That would be.
No, here's what I meant. No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Something else. It wasn't.
Look at this cute mug of our kids I made because I love them so much, and I'm such a present father. Yeah. All right, we are going to have Billy stick around for the bonus episode, which we have done bonus episodes with lots of people at this point. Many artists. You get access instantly if you go to patreon.com/thebrassjunkies. And we're going to see if we can get Billy to dig a little bit deeper into the hole that he finds himself in. We're gonna have we'll have a good time with that. And Billy, thank you. You're a treasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
You're
you.
the best.
Appreciate it.
And Lance, as always,
Yes.
you were professional. You were prepared. I had to talk to Lance about his attitude about a month ago, but he's improved. He's taken some like concrete measures to.
This is improved.
This is improved.
Billy. This is the improved.
and that
Take it to heart.
And that is going to do it for this episode of The Brass Junkies.
You've been listening to The Brass Junkies on the Pedal Note Media Podcast Network. If you would like to hear the bonus episode featuring today's guest, please visit patreon.com/thebrassjunkies to learn how you can support the show and instantly access all bonus materials, as well as gain access to a special patron-only Facebook group. The Brass Junkies is produced by the amazing, wonderful, and truly inspirational Will Houchin. The theme music was composed by Fernando Dados and performed by Andrew Hitz and Lance LaDuke. We are at Pray for Jens on Twitter and Instagram and have a Facebook page at facebook.com/prayforjens. You can find out more about the Brass Junkies and all the other Pedal Note Media podcasts at pedalnotemedia.com. This has been a presentation of the Pedal Note Media Podcast Network.